into a parallel reality. So now all the work is doing is building a bridge to that reality. Like we were showing, skipping to the next particle that you want to go to. All right, the next one is the field of dreams. Now this one is going to require you to be able to imagine. Now don't panic yet. The field of dreams is like putting whatever your goal is out here, and you ask, you can pray, you can meditate, you ask. He mentioned the clairvoyance, the visual. I'm a visual person, so I ask to see it. Universe, God, whatever you want to say, show me a vision of my dream. And if you don't use vision, give me a feeling of it. Let me hear it. Whatever tool you use, because we all use different tools. When Matt and I were dating, and we came to a fork, and I didn't know if we were I didn't know what to do. We needed to continue. I asked for the vision, Panama City, Florida, on the side of the road at the beach, and I got it. I got the vision. I saw us in some future. I saw us on honeymoon in California, and it actually happened, 3 or 4 years down the road. But do that, and if you can't get that, then that's when you need to rethink your goal. So when I'll have a client say, well, I don't know if he's the right one for me to be doing exercises. I say, ask for the vision. If you can't get a vision of you and this person in the relationship you want to be in, it's not there. When it comes to specific people, other than people that are already in your life, like your daughter or your mother or your husband or whatever, try not to be specific with the person. If it's something like drawing in new love or drawing in new friends, try not to nail it down to a specific person. The only reason I'm saying that, so let's say you ask for a vision and you've been kind of seeing this guy named Steve, and you're asking for a vision, but you say, you know what, I'm going to let him off the hook. I just want to get the vision of who I'm going to be with. And Steve pops up, then you got an answer. All right, so we're talking about how do I know this thing's actually going to happen? How long do I have to wait, Sheris? All right, there's 2 things that happen. Remember how I said you have to be of the dominant vibration. So if you're single, and your dominant vibration is, I'm single every day. I'm single, I'm so single. I've been single for 15 years. Okay, that gives you your answer. You're not closing in. But if your dominant vibration is hopeful, you're up there in 1 through 7, you're hopeful and you're kind of feeling excited. This person might be right in the corner. That's one clue. The other clue, and again, this goes for all your dreams, wherever they may be a new car, I don't know. But your second really powerful sign is when you do this journaling, it's going to feel like it's already happening. The day I met Matt, I was sitting in a coffee shop journaling my little love story. And I felt it. I said, it feels like I already know this person. And that was 4:30, and by 9:30 that night I met him. But it just feels realer than real when it's just about to pop. Another little test you can do, and this is hard, I admit that. But when it's something that's really important to your heart, and you see somebody else, maybe a family member, maybe a friend, maybe just people on the street. Back in the beginning, I was single for like 7 years. And I would go to New York, and they're really romantic on the streets in New York. I think it's because they don't have a whole lot of time. So they get it in wherever they can find it. But, you see a lot of PDAs on the street or in the subway. And I would see people hugged up kissing. And I just wanted to throw myself down on the ground and cry every time I'd see it. That was the beginning of the 7 years. But at the end of it, when I saw them, I would rejoice because I knew my time was coming. So when you can look at somebody who's already achieved your dream, and you can feel gratitude and excitement, you're getting there, you're almost there. Okay? Improving relationships. This may be a reason why I want you here tonight. You may have, let's face it, we're all going to have problems in relationships with various people. That's human nature. There's always going to be squabbles. There's always going to be somebody that's not doing something you want them to do or whatever. So this includes family, friends, workers, lovers, anybody you can think of. Your barber, your dentist. Number one, and I've been guilty of this myself. I'm going to sit here and act like I'm perfect. Don't grow the negative. Whatever they're doing that drives you crazy, you got to take your attention off of it. And again, divorce yourself from the reality of it. And you're not going to be able to tell other people a lot of this stuff I'm saying because they'll think you're nuts. Well, it's happening, Joan. Don't you see it? No, I don't want the attention to it anymore. You're crazy. So you just got to take your attention off. Withdraw your attention. The next one, this is a common one I get calls about, is when a relationship's gone sour, women in particular, I'm not going to knock the men off because there's men that do it too. They want to pursue the person, chase after them. Well, I can make you love me, or I can make you stop drinking, or I can make you, nope, it doesn't work. It grows the negative. I had this father come to me. He had a daughter that was alcoholic, and she had hit bottom, and she'd been in all kinds of trouble. She had a daughter, and this father was racked because he didn't know how to help his daughter. So far, he'd been enabling her, and he hadn't been able to cut loose. So I gave him some techniques, and we talked about withdrawing all attention. And that's a scary thing for people to do, because when they really care about somebody and they see somebody doing reckless things, it's almost impossible to pull back. But you have to, because your fear and your worry is growing that behavior. Okay? So I told him, let's just take a little retreat. Let's pull back from this situation and just put it on ice, put it on hold. Meanwhile, let's do these techniques. So he got to work doing what I'm teaching you. And he stayed apart from her for months. And when he didn't have to go chase her. She came back around. She no longer had his input, his negative energy, or his expectations, and she came back around. And when she came back around, she was cleaned up. The grandchild was doing well in school. The mother had a job. She was getting sober. But his internal work over here helped him get out of that particular version of reality. It put him in another world And in that world, she was healthy. You see what I mean? You can do the movie director in this too. Movie director is not just for new relationships, it's to improve others. And that was one of the things he did, creating a new version of reality with his daughter. And it was hard for him because she wasn't the first addict he had to deal with in his life. He grew up with addicts. So that was a very familiar theme for him. He couldn't imagine a world that didn't have that in it. So it was a lot of work. All right, another thing that you guys can do, I guess we can say this is the third one. When you have a fight, a conflict, a disagreement with somebody, hit the rewind button. Remember how I said time is simultaneous? Past, present, future. It's all swirled in like Mexican burrito or something. I was thinking Italian spaghetti sauce, but Mexican came out of my mouth. I like Mexican food a lot. But anyway, so you had this fight. You and your best girlfriend, I just got this call yesterday. You had this fight, and oh, you feel terrible because you love her. You don't want a rift, but you honestly don't know what to do. In this quantum way of looking at things, we can go backwards. So how do you go backwards? You journal the event from a whole different perspective. So let's say you got the first scenario. You had a fight with your boss. Then your girlfriend showed up and she gave you some grief about the weight you put on, and it just kind of sent you over the edge. So you got this tangle. All right, that's what really happened in one reality. So now let's see about doing it a different way. I got up. It was a wonderful, fresh start to the day. I was feeling pretty good. I was really looking forward to my lunch with Debbie. And when I arrived at the restaurant, she complimented me on how beautiful I looked. And we had an amazing lunch, period. Now you can do that a few days in a row. And if you can get yourself feeling really good, chances are Debbie's going to call you, or something's going to happen where you two have an interaction, and it's going to be pleasant, it's going to be good. You may not even have to revisit the fight. It could very conceivably be totally forgotten. I'm not kidding. All right, another one that I have to throw in here, because I'm sure several of you have adult children. And this is something I present when you're raising a kid. There's a specific dynamic in your roles, and there has to be. You're the adult, they're the child. But as they mature and become an adult, those roles need to shift. Most of the time they don't. And I'm not blaming any of you guys because we've been doing it this way forever. But the parent, they still react to the child the way they did when they were a kid, and the child still reacts to the parent as they did. And even if we're not talking about your kids, we may be talking about you and your parents. So let me give you an example. Your adult daughter, Susie, just bought a house, and she furnished it. And you walk in, as mom or dad, and you say, wow, I think green curtains would have been really nice. If she's in that child role, she's likely to react to you as that parent criticizing her. And then you get in a fight. But if she's reacting to you as her friend that she enjoys company with, and she enjoys your input, she's going to interpret that comment totally different. So what I suggest, whether you're the child or the parent, do this journaling work to shift your role with whoever we're talking about. Move it into a place of friendship. Because I promise you it'll be a much more pleasant interaction. Isn't it wonderful to think of your daughter seeing you as just a human that has normal flaws and personality characteristics, and this godlike creature that does no wrong? You know, I love this little scenario I wrote in the book about these two women, the mom and the daughter, going and getting a manicure or spa experience or something. And I was writing how the mother felt, finally feeling like this daughter is now my buddy. We love to go do things together. And she sees me as a human now. She doesn't expect me to be perfect anymore. Okay, so that was another one, another little tip for you guys. Okay, and another one, this one is when the roads of communication are roadblocked. The bridge is out, we can't talk, okay? So what do? Understand that these exercises you're doing have a psychic component to them. We are all way more psychic and telepathic than we recognize. And as you're doing this work, any person that's co-starring with you in your scenes, they're going to feel it. And I have to say this, never, ever, ever fight with somebody in your mind, because they're getting it. They don't know what you're saying, but they know there's some negative mojo coming from you. And if they avoid you and you wonder why, now you know. So with telepathy, what you do is you imagine talking to that person. So as I said, let's say, boy, the roads have been destroyed, there's no common ground for communication. The exercise I give to people, I tell them, when you're in meditation or just about to go to sleep, it's perfect to do all these exercises right before you go to sleep. Because as you sleep, your subconscious works on it. So, in your restful place, close your eyes, see the person that you desire communication with standing in front of you. Look them in the eyes. Put your hand over your heart, because whenever you see somebody do this and they're talking, they're speaking from the heart. It's genuine. So when you talk to them, no blaming, no accusing. Mary Jo, I love you. I apologize for my part in this conflict. It's my sincerest, heartfelt wish that we can come back together, or whatever it is. Guess what? Mary Jo is going to show you her reaction to you in that moment. In all of these scenarios, you're journaling, whoever you're talking to about or whatever, watch how they react in your seams. If it's hard for you to get it going, they're resisting it. Back off. When you're talking to somebody telepathically and they react with anger, they storm off, they act like they're trying to get away from you, back off. Drop it. You can come back later and see if the resistance goes away. If it doesn't, then you just need to let it go. But they'll show you. And a lot of times, they'll break down in tears. They will start talking back to you. And you need to know this is genuine. They may not be conscious of it, though. So don't call Mary Jo up tomorrow and say, yeah, you told me you love me and you miss me and blah, blah, blah. She's going to be like, what are you talking about? Allow the energy to develop. But take that as your good sign that things will come back together. Okay, I need to talk about ethics because that's something, people are concerned with. Well, is this ethical? All right, so here's what we're going to do. I'm going to talk about this to you because I want you to understand this is not about manipulating people, okay? Not about that. I vehemently oppose that. I get women calling me, I need you to make my husband come back to me and put a curse on him and do this. And I'm like, no, I'm not your girl. All right. I just gave you a clue of how to know if you're crossing a line. Because when you're doing this work, if that guy's running away from you and you're seeing, hello, find another route, somebody else. But you will get it. You'll feel a sense of it. If it's hard to pull it together, a lot of times that's not you that can't imagine. It's them not wanting to be a part of your fairy tale. So you go on to somebody else or leave it open and somebody else. Astral sex. I got a chapter on sex in my book, and I got to tell you, I was reluctant to write that because I was afraid of giving people clues to do bad things. So I'm going to say this. Sex often comes up in these scenarios. You're feeling romantic and sexy, and you want to have a little sexual encounter in your mind with this person. Believe me, it's really happening. Married women are doing this in their fantasies with that guy at work, and they don't think they're stepping out. You are really having sex on the astral level, and that guy is really picking up on it. So you need to be responsible with your power. And you need to be cognizant of what you're doing. I had a friend for my whole life that I noticed every time she's my best friend, every time I got around her or a business was approaching, I'd start feeling this overwhelming sexual energy coming at me. She was a lesbian. And I'm like, what is this? I've never thought of her like that. Why do I keep feeling this? Finally, once I got a little more learned, I figured it out. But it was such an intense, palpable energy, and I'm quite certain people do this all the time. And they don't know that that's like black magic doing something like that to somebody. They just think, I'm going to hustle this one up. I'm sure a lot of men do that when they're interested in a woman. But you have to be responsible. And there's so many people running around in the world that are totally unconscious, and it's very easy to get swept away by someone else's stronger intention for you. That's not saying you're a victim. That's saying you're not paying attention. Another one is psychic vampires. You have people that latch on to you and they just like to drain you of your energy. That's a boundary violation. So understand that you've got to be responsible with your boundaries, okay, with your psychic boundaries in all this work. Okay, I'm going to give you guys a few minutes to take a break, and then we'll wrap everything up. Thank you.
Where are you from in Louisiana?
Up around Shreveport, Monroe, Ruston, not in the south. Everybody wants to go to Cajunville, but no, we were the northern part of the state.